Hello, this is Jack Anthony, and this is a voiceover of the slides I'll present to the Association of Graduates Heritage Committee. This is a speedy review of the slides, and this is for General Wida and team to know what I'm going to present and get their feedback. The file's about 190 megs, so we're going to have to figure out how to get it to Ms. Hess or make sure I could push it on Zoom. Anyway, here's slide one, some cool pictures, including me with the great-grandson of the Husted town namesake. This is an aerial view of USAFA before USAFA, and we can take a close look at this, identifying the athletic fields and where the where the cadet area was built. This was a 1954 picture. Here's some structures that were on the academy, and you'll see it was a sleepy little area. Here's some newspaper clippings that talk about Husted disappearing as the academy came to be. A little bit of drama here, but Husted pretty much was faded away, but this shows you the reaction of the community in 1954. This article is pretty special, an excerpt, and the last paragraph talks about thousands of future officers, the United States Air Force will get their training here. They won't know about Husted and they won't care. Well, I think you, the Heritage and Traditions Committee, can change that, so that's pretty cool. This is a sign on the new Santa Fe Trail acknowledging that there was once a town there. Husted had stations on both the Denver Rio Grande Railroad and the Santa Fe Railroad. This is a map. You can see Dead Man's Creek and where Husted was, and all those little dots you see there by Husted are dwellings, and you can see the railroad tracks going by. This is a 1912 map, and I found those little dwelling dots were pretty accurate. Some archaeologists went and snooped around there. The cadet area is to the left of this, and I'll point that out. Here's a picture of the North Gate as they were building it, and in the Academy, May 1958. You can see Cathedral Rock, I-25, the Cloverleaf interchange of North Gate. So this is a pretty valuable image to study because you could see the Western Mining Museum buildings that exist today. So this might be fun to look at this, especially since they're working so hard to build the new interchange. Now this one is really interesting, and I'm going to try to use my pen here if I can. This area right here was a concrete processing plant, and so they pretty much obliterated most of Husted, but that's where the concrete was manufactured based on what I see. I've zoomed in on the image, and so it's a pretty cool picture. This is an image of where you would be at the railroad station today. And down here, down below was a historical picture. I tried to recreate it. Here's a bunch of handsome guys and some guys sitting on a train cow catcher at the Husted station getting ready to go somewhere. And this station was right down the hill from the where the cemetery is today. So this gives you an idea. It was a railroad town. This is the Husted rail station on the Santa Fe. This is what was along the new Santa Fe Regional Trail. The foundation of this building still exists. It's kind of hard to find, but you can find it. This is a map I got from a railroad historian, and we can explore it a little bit. But what I'll show on this is the precision that they used to measure where stuff was. And you can see a little road like snaking through there. That's the original narrow gauge. And then a more straight alignment. That's the standard gauge. And it's with this map that I was able to do a lot of research and find structures. And I've had railroad historians help me, so it's pretty cool. This was the Kinner gas station right where the North Gate is, and pretty cool. Got the roadster there in the building, and you get your gas and maybe even a Coke. This is a map the archaeologist and I used to explore the area. The archaeologists were on contract to civil engineering. I was able to meet with them, but not be with them when they did their digging. Um, my relationship with the civil engineering has had a few ups and downs. Not that I ever did anything wrong, but my exploration, I was snooping all over the place. At one time, I had a letter from the commander of the security forces allowing me to go anywhere I want except the fire range because of safety. His name was Lieutenant Colonel Kit Lambert, and it turned out he was a Civil Air Patrol cadet when I was a mission pilot in a unit I served in. So that was really cool. But anyway, there was a big train wreck just south of the west end of the North Gate, and we're going to talk about that because what I did is I researched where that wreck occurred. I got the accident report, and class of '87 David Hollenbeck helped me. And this is really cool. We researched where it was, and here's some then and now photos. I'll speed through them, but we'll get a chance to look at this and give you confidence as to David and I knowing in our hearts we found the site. Hey, there's a 2003 grad connection to the town of Husted. David McElroy's great uncle of some sort, another David McElroy, was a rancher in the Husted area. And we'll talk about some of the ranch remains. And there's a house and everything. And there's David and his family. I keep in touch with him. It's a funny story how I got connected to him. This is the only remnants of Husted. This is the Western Mining Museum Historical House. This house was built in 1894. Okay, we'll shift gears. This is Cathedral Rock Ranch. You may recognize it. That's now the Cadet Athletic Fields, and there's Cathedral Rock in the background. And there's Cathedral Rock Ranch. They had 4,000 acres of Hereford cattle raising going on there in the long ago before the academy. There you can see the ranch, and by golly, there you can see them building our little Air Force Academy, including the roof to Mitchell Hall. How's that? That's a cool picture. Over by the service and supply area, there's the Edgerton area, and this is a dam for Edgerton Cascade Lake 1. They harvested ice from these lakes. Unfortunately, that beautiful wall fell down in 2013 due to erosion and such. There was a school there, the First District 20 school, Edgerton School, so we'll talk a little bit about that. There's a plaque in honor of that near the parking lot. This map shows you kind of where everything is in relation to the service and supply area, and I wanted to show the irrigation systems and ditch systems they used. This was a stage stop just south of Edgerton. It's a little bit off the academy, but that was called the Edgerton House or Teach Out House. This is me at the remains of it. They're off in the weeds, but the remains of the barn's still there. Now, there's two remnants of cabins on the base. One is kept in pretty good shape, the Pioneer Cabin built by William Burgess. Here's a picture of it right around when the Academy got it, including the outhouse. How do you like that? There it is today with the 5 Pioneer graves, and I'll talk about whose graves they are. There's a connection between those graves and the Falcon Stadium. Here's some historical pictures. I thought you'd like to see those from newspapers and gatherings when they dedicated the Pioneer Cabin to the memory of the pioneers. I'm glad the Academy did this. Now, Cap's Cabin is a tucked away mystery. There's Falcon Stadium, just southwest of the stadium. There's an area that you see circled. Well, guess what? That is Cap's Cabin Foundation, and it's tucked away. Most folks don't know it's there, but it's there. Okay, this will be a special treat for General Wida. The Lennox home, Glenwood Ranch, Pine Valley, that little cabin there, house is a cabin and then a house built onto it, and that's Blodgett Peak behind it. By golly, what is it today? Well, that's the Commandant residence, the Otis House. And we'll talk through a little history of the cabin to the Lennox house, eventually to what Mr. Otis built. So we'll probably make John Wida brief this chart. And speaking of Johnny, there he is, my classmate and hero, hosting Hester Jane Cogswell, the last person to own that house. This picture was taken long ago. And then there's a picture of General Lingell and his wife with the Cogswell family. It was wonderful how they would host the Cogswells to come in and see their old home that they had to leave in 1954. Hester Jane wrote a book about it, and I'll talk about that. Okay, then we'll finish Cathedral Rock. It's really cool geological place, but it's also where a tradition was, the run to the rock. So what I'm going to do, here's a historical photo, is I'm going to talk about the geological wonder and the pioneer sign-in log. Yes, pioneers carved their name in this big rock. Here's a summary of examples in case I'm running out of time, so you could stop and look at some of these carvings. These are pioneers that I have researched, like Louis Flegel. He carved this October 14, 1871. How about that? Here's when you approach the rock, this is the first section you see, and I love to have people study this because you can see AJ and JC Bishop. They were a couple, and they even carved a little heart between their initials. Their children even carved their names into the rock in the 1870s and 80s. So we'll explore that a little bit, and we'll also find out, there's Ginny Bishop, carved her name there by herself. That's who they were. They were pioneers, and that they carved their name in. They felt the need to do that, and I think that's cool. And here's Jenny and a little article about her. Here's Oscar. He carved his name in there. He turned out to be a preacher or a lawyer, I think. Here's what I call a signature wall. This is the north side, and there's a billion names carved in there. A few of the names are modern, but most of them are real pioneers. This is the Wilson family, and they carved their names in. That's the children. Louis Flegel, there he is. He's carving fool. He carved the rock like 6 times. This is signature wall, and what I'm going to do here is point out the 2 Welty brothers carved their name in. And here's a little story about them. They had a ranch over in Hay Creek. I used to take groups over there, but the cultural affairs and civil engineer would rather I not do that, and I respect that. This is General Chilton and a bunch of cadets, and Kathy Chilton. This was a real special visit. And there I am at Signature Wall, looking like a Raider of the Lost Ark explorer. I'll point out, living near the rock was the Shoebarth family. And then near the airfield, there was a pioneer family that moved there, William and Mary Young and Marion Young. Well, Marion's Young's children's children would end up being key leaders in the Palmer Lake Historic Society. And there's a picture of Marion when she was a little bit older at their cabin. Okay, well, that's a speed through of the slides. I think I could go through it not that fast, but I can stop on things and talk and just have a really good time doing this. So I'm going to put this on a YouTube video and send you the link. God bless you all. I'm so honored to do this.